Ty Doucette, the big dog, is in the house. How are you, sir?
Good, man. Good.
So,
Thanks, man.
is it true that you just got home?
Just got home yesterday. Landed like 2:00. Flights are all messed up again, like usual. But got here, back. Happy to be back.
That's a good local boy. You know, you got five days at home, and you're coming in to do a little interview. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I know time with family for us Maritimers is important. So to take a break from that to come here,
100%.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
How was the year? I hear good things.
Yeah, the fall season was a bit of an eye opener. It was kind of crazy. I had no idea what to expect even from the jump. Like, you can ask guys what it's like, and you still have no idea. We started the fall a little bit late, so we didn't kind of get into team stuff until like the end of September. So the first couple weeks were good to get your feet wet. We just kind of did some individual stuff. And coming off this summer, like, I was feeling really good about myself and how I prepared my body and prepared, my mental side of everything. And, I just kind of rolled right in, and I was able to just have real good success all the way through the fall. And but it was pretty crazy, just like learning all these new, like, you don't think time management is a big thing until you actually get there, and you're like, oh my God, this is hectic. But yeah.
I was just saying that to dudes and to you too. When I think of NCAA, I don't think like of school. I just think of sports. I literally think NCAA is sports.
Yeah.
I guess it is, but I completely forget about the actual athletic side of it. Is it? I guess maybe it's not hard for you to forget about the athletic or the academic side of it because you're in it every day. But did you find it challenging to balance it?
Yeah, at the start, like, once you first get into classes and team practices, they're 4 or 5 hours long, and then you got to go lift afterwards. So you're at the field from 11 to 6:30, and then you go to class before, class at night. I got like two classes start at 7:30 at night.
How do you have mental capacity at 7:30?
Oh my God, I don't know. It's like you come home and you're like, all right, got to eat, because you haven't ate all day after your lift. So you crank a couple protein shakes, then you eat, and then you're like, all right, got to go to class, and you just got to manage it. Most of the time they're lecture classes, and I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I usually just put on like a hockey game or something, and I just sit there and kind of just chill out.
High button live stream.
Yeah. I did. I was watching my brother's games, like the live stream games and stuff. Yeah. So I was watching those. I remember I was in class and I was actually watching one. Every time the professor would like walk up the aisles or whatever, I had to like switch back, like I'm taking notes or something. But,
oh my God.
Yeah, but I honestly, like, the difference between, like, I expected school to be like super, super difficult. And honestly, like, it's been easier than high school for me. We get so much like academic help with tutors and study skills. They don't do your work for you, but like they give you so much information, so much help. Just with everybody that's around, it's kind of hard to fail.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to do bad, but it's just about like, getting the assignments done on time, and like, all right, like either you do this or like you want to go hang out and chill, watch a movie or something. So you just kind of have to have like your priorities in check.
I love it.
Yeah.
The good life. But dudes, I actually forgot to turn the dehumidifier off. You just click the top there. You're good on. Yeah, that's a simple life when I guess they make it easy for you just to focus on baseball.
Yeah.
Is it the first time you lived in the States? Rutgers is in New Jersey?
Yeah. It's about like 20 minutes south of Newark. But I lived in Florida last spring for like 3 months, just because I didn't go back to out west, and I wanted to go south and play down there. And that was a good academy, league or whatever it was. And lived down there for 3 months with a bunch of roommates. So that kind of got me ready for living with roommates instead of like a billet family. But it was an easy adjustment. Like, I mean, I've been living away for the last 3 years, so I mean, that wasn't too huge of a deal. But the State's culture and like learning, like my roommates are from like, there's one from right in town. So he lives like 5 minutes away, and then there's two of them that live like South Jersey, so they're like kind of Philly boys. So it was cool to kind of meet those guys and get really close with them. Made it a lot easier for the transition too.
We did a trip to Boston this past year to do like a minor league tournament, Boston Showdown, I believe it was called. Mm-hmm. And we just noticed that sports in the States are so catered to go the professional route. Like the rinks that we go into, like here in Nova Scotia, there's a 4-pad. It's awesome. Couple 4-pads there. There's like 8 pads. And like there's training facilities within the 8 pads. And there's restaurants within 2 blocks of the rink for people to get fed when there's these huge tournaments. And it's unbelievable the amount of money put into some of these establishments in order to make these kids go pro. At least for me, seeing it for the first time in Boston last year, was like, whoa, unbelievable amount of, I guess, foundation for these kids to be able to go and pursue a life in pro hockey. I just couldn't imagine actually living there and getting to use those facilities like you. I was Googling Rutgers this morning and looking at your practice facility, looking at your stadium, looking at your dressing room. It was just like, oh my God, you're basically pro.
Yeah, there's you definitely get worked like one. Like they treat it like it is, right? Like
as you should be.
Like yeah, and even like amateur baseball in the States. I remember last year, like I said, I was in Florida. We went to like the conference tournament. And it was like there was 10 fields, all turf, in one area. And I'm like, oh my God, like you guys just have this here? And they're like, yeah, like they just come and play like all year round. This was in Georgia. And like I actually was 12. There was 3 different 4 quadrants of fields. And I was like, oh my God, like this is like, and we got 1 turf field and 2 turf fields in Atlantic, Canada, and they got 12 in one area. And I'm like, oh my, like this is, and like that's the thing, right? Like obviously it's more popular and they're gonna get more money and blah blah blah, but you know, I really think that has a part in, you know, development of baseball and kids. Like, you know, if you're able to go out on turf fields every single day and play and just get better, and not even turf fields, but you're able to have that all year round kind of vibe, and have indoor facilities. Like we have an indoor turf field, you know, when it gets cold out and stuff. Like it just takes your game to like a different level that you never knew you could get to.
Do you have other Canadians on your team?
Yeah, we have one of our catchers from Toronto.
Nice.
I played with him on the junior national team, so it was good there was a familiar face going in. And we flew home together. Like we both flew into Billy Bishop.
Yeah.
And then he lives right in Toronto, so he left. But they get honest about the accents too. They're not used to my accent. Like when I say like car and bar, which is like the hard ARs, or like out, like they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you just said it normal.
Yeah, that's what I tell them. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, no, you're not saying it right. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you are. Don't listen to him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're laughing. Yeah. Do you find it, I guess, when you see other Canadians go to the States, like did your buddy from Toronto have that eye-opening experience? Well, like, wow, 12 fields. Did he have that same feeling, or in Toronto is it different?
Yeah, I mean, it was similar. Like Toronto, obviously, there's more, you know, academies and whatnot, and there's more facilities down there. But I mean, there's when you come down, it's like, holy, like there's no comparison. Even down in Canada, like, you know, you'll see a turf field here and there and whatever and whatnot. But down there, it's like, they're everywhere. Like, and every program has so many different resources and stuff where you can go. And it's like amazing how much money that goes into this stuff.
Did Rutgers have a football team?
Yeah.
We
were pretty good this year.
Were you?
Yeah, I was at we were 6-2, and I went to we hosted Ohio State when they were ranked number 1.
No way.
Yeah, it was the first time Rutgers ever hosted a number 1 seed.
Oh.
We were winning at halftime, and I was like, oh my God, boys, we're gonna see it. We're gonna see a win here. And then of course Marvin Harrison Jr. scores a touchdown, and they got a pick 6, and we ended up losing like 36-16 or something. But I thought it was great. Like I've been to all, like, every football game you can make it to, I went to, but we had weekend practices a bunch, so we weren't able to go a whole bunch. But that weekend when Ohio State came was like our first kind of weekend off, so it worked out perfectly. So we all got to go to that game. We're in the student section, just everybody's standing up. You're getting loud, you know. You got like the pom, you're going crazy, and then they were pretty good this year, but I think they had a tough. They had to play Ohio State, Penn State, Iowa. Like they had to play all these ranked guys, and I think they're like 6-5 now. But they got off to a really good start. But it was cool. Like when you go to tutoring and stuff, you see these guys walking down the hall, and they're like these mammoth guys, and you're like, yeah, I know what sport you play. And then you know, it's cool because when you go into like, there's like one building for tutoring, and you get to kind of see all the other athletes. It's just like a student athlete building.
Oh, so you guys merge together?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
What about like the canteen? Like, do you guys eat together too? Like,
it depends. Like, there's a place right next to the basketball arena, where our locker room's in, and like you get like free. There's like free meals there, free fueling stations, protein shakes, stuff like that. So like if you're hungry, you just go grab something quick. So like you don't really eat together. Like the teams usually stay together, but then once you get to like this student athlete building, it's kind of just everybody's there at once, and like there's a huge weight room. Guys are lifting, like the lacrosse team's lifting, and then you're upstairs doing your tutoring, and then the football team's going out to practice or stuff like that. So it's cool, like everybody's kind of moving at once.
I love that environment.
Yeah,
just an environment where people are just getting better, whether it's physically, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's diet, whatever. Just people just getting better. It's the best environment you can be in.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
100%.
And to wake up every day and get to do that, just wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I love that. We got to get to New Jersey. How far is that drive?
16 hours.
16. He knows. He's done it.
You drive that?
I drove. My mom and brother drove me down when we were going, but we did it in like a day and a half. Like we went to Boston. We drove up from here to Boston one day.
That's a nice drive.
Yeah, and then it was like 4 hours from Boston.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's not bad. That's not terrible, actually. If you leave early enough, you sleep it for the first little bit, whoever's driving too.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. And you get to like drive through New York City too, which is, I don't ever want to do that again, but it was kind of
sounds like you.
That makes two of us.
Yeah, it was kind of cool to do, just to see it, because like I've never seen New York City before.
Yeah.
And then we're like an hour from New York City.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are some of the cooler stadiums that you went to this year, like other college teams that you got to play against?
We actually stayed at home. We stayed at home this fall, but like we got to host Vanderbilt, which was like, that was crazy.
Wow.
You know, Vanderbilt's like the top of the mountain,
the
right?
Mecca.
I've heard.
Yeah. They're like, you know, when you're a kid growing up, you're like, I want to go to Vanderbilt, right? Especially when like our age, when they were winning the Natties and they're going to the College World Series every year. And then kind of to host them and see like, you know, their coach, you know, he's a huge coach in Division I baseball. And then to see like all the players that like, you know, when you're in high school, you're watching them on YouTube or TV or whatever. And then you're actually like, we're playing against these guys and like, we want to beat them. To play them was actually like, that was surreal. And then to go out and do what I did and you know, I was just
explain people like what you did.
Yeah, so we were first inning. We were home. We were doing 3 6-inning games, and we would split up. Like they were just continuous. And I was lucky enough to start. I was starting at first base, hitting fourth, and I was like, I look at the lineup card and I'm like, all right, hitting fourth, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna shit myself. Like, this is crazy. Like, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so nervous. I'm like, I'm going nuts. I'm like, the coaches are like, one of our assistant coaches is coming around and he's like pushing me. He's like trying to loosen me up a little bit. I'm like, dude, like, oh my god, like I'm like freaking out right now. And a couple of the older guys, like the seniors, they were like, relax, like you're gonna be all right. Like just like,
is that like a rare thing, a freshman in the fourth slot? Is that?
It depends. Like,
if you're the real deal, you get to go.
I don't
there.
know.
Okay.
I was having a really good fall at the time. At the
Okay.
point, and I was, you know, I felt like personally like I earned it. Like I expected to be there, on a personal level. And when I got that chance, I was like, oh my god, it actually happened. So we go into the game. First inning, we get out of it, no runs. Our third baseman made like a diving catch to end the inning, so we got all the momentum. And then we're facing their Saturday night guy, who I've watched on YouTube. And we were watching film before this, actually, like the day before, we were watching film. And I saw that he loved to get ahead, and he had a slider that he would throw, and it would just back up. And I knew going in, like 4-hole left-handed hitter, he's going to try to get ahead with a slider. So I wasn't sitting slider, but I was like,
aware.
If I see it at me, I'm going to hit it over the scoreboard. And we had a runner on first. We had one out. We already scored a run. It was 1-0. Because I think we got a couple hits, and then we scored on like a ground ball that they couldn't turn a double play, and then we had a runner on first. And first pitch, he threw me the slider, and I just hit it over the scoreboard. And like I remember we have like a logo right around first base. I remember from that logo all the way to home plate, like I don't remember.
Blacked out,
I don't remember anything. Like I was just screaming, like, "Let's go!" I was like losing my mind. Our coaches, like everybody, because we expected to beat them. Like we expected to win. Like we're not going into this being like, "Oh, this is Vanderbilt."
Of course.
Like we expected to win, but I don't think we expected like the crazy. Like we're up 3-0 on 4 batters, and it was like, oh my god! Like we just like punched them in the mouth. Like it was like, oh my god. And when I saw it go out, I was like, oh my god. And then I ended up going like 3 for 4 that day with like a sac fly and a walk, and I played like the first 12 innings, and I was like super happy with the way it was, and we ended up winning all 3 games, which was huge for our program, and putting us like we're legit, like we're real, like we're not some slouch, like we're here to play. And I think it was good for all the guys personally. I think we had 4 home runs, and it was good for like the team, and it was good for guys, their confidence, right?
Yeah.
It was like we like you see what we can do when we can play up to this level. Like if we play up to our level and not play against the competition, it's like endless opportunities for success. So
wow. And that was the first couple games of the year?
that was the first game we played against anybody.
First set.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's kind of what I wanted to touch on, because I said to you before this podcast even started, to even swing at the first pitch midsummer is still a tough thing to do, right? As long as you have the right approach. But to go into your very first at bat against a school like Vanderbilt and to, do a little bit of homework, which obviously I never did when I played, but was it a lefty on the mound?
Yeah, lefty.
So that was the thing about the most amazing thing is the lefty on lefty matchup, okay? You go into your very first at bat against Vanderbilt, which is a big school. Everybody knows them. And then you go in and swing at the first pitch in your first at bat. And not only do you hit it, but you hit it, a country mile. My thing is, what was it, like a reaction thing, or was it something that you were kind of sitting on? Like, I'm looking at this first pitch here. I'm looking to not let him get ahead. I'm going to get ahead. Or was it just something that you seen out of the hand and you were like, wow, I'm going to jump on this right now?
Yeah, it was honest. Like, being completely honest with you, like, honest to God, I don't know how I hit it. It was like almost a ball.
It was
like,
in.
It was like in, and I kind of hit it like with my hands, like right here, and I just like pushed it out. Like it was like I was like, oh my God, like how did I hit that? But like I said, like I was sitting. I mean, always on fastball. Like I'm always like,
of course.
That's our approach. Like we're always on the fastball. But if I see it in, like I know I'm quick enough, and if I just stay inside of the ball, like no matter where it is or what pitch it is, like I'm gonna hit it. So I wasn't trying to hit a home run.
No.
I was just I pulled my hands in so much, and I was able to stay inside of it. And when I saw the spin, I was like, all right, here we go. Like let's like stay on this thing. Don't get around it. And I just stayed on it. And as soon as you see it, go up with backspin, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And I was dreaming about it like the night before. I was
manifest.
I was like dreaming about it, like when you're a kid and stuff, and you're like, you're watching like the highlights before the games, and you're like visualizing, you're like,
that's going to be me.
Yeah. So then you're just hoping that you can, contribute in some way. And then as soon as I saw it go up, I was like, oh my God, no way I just did that.
You're a sick man.
Yeah. But
first pitch of your NCAA career.
Yeah.
You just said, no, I'm
against
swinging.
Vanderbilt.
Against Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. You weren't charged or anything after that. That's not against the law. You did that. And there's video of it too.
Yeah. There's video. Like they had we have like this Synergy. It's called Synergy.
I know it. The stick.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like cameras all over the field or whatever. They film like every game. So they got it on that. I wish it was live streamed though.
Call us.
Yeah.
I love New Jersey.
Yeah.
Great food. They got a meatball sub down there, I heard, to die for. American food in general.
Yeah, good pizza too.
Oh yeah. Well, right next to New York too.
But yeah, like I said, I wish it was live streamed. I mean, you could see it, but they had a pretty good shot of it. And then some guy on Twitter was filming the at bat, I think he was filming the pitcher actually, and I ended up hitting a home run, and then he turned it into my video. So
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen.
yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen. But yeah, so there was he posted on Twitter, which was kind of cool to see, like an angle of like the whole field, and watch me just run around the bases was it's pretty surreal after.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there always a sense of pride being in the States coming from Canada? Like, even though you hit that home run, that's awesome. And yeah, you're representing Rutgers for sure. But is there a part of you that goes, that's for Canada, that's for like where I'm from?
I would say it's for Nova Scotia.
For Nova Scotia.
Like
okay.
I like anybody who knows me or talks to me, like I love this place. Like this is my home. Like Nova Scotia, like I'll live here for the rest of my life. And just like, it's again, like I talk about it all the time. It's like, not in a cocky way. It's just like, I want kids to see that and be like, this is possible. Like I want you to be able to do this too. Like that's like, I'm like one last rep. Like they're getting, all those kids are going in there working hard and getting better. And it's like this is what you can do. Like if you can take a small opportunity and just go with it and just really, but you gotta want it and you really gotta love it. But I just like, there's the sense of pride, I guess, is, I guess for Canada, just because there's not a lot, especially there's only 2 on our team.
Yeah.
But then you look at Nova Scotia and it's like, there's only a couple guys. Like you got Micah, McDowell, Matty Grabman, Evan O'Toole. I mean, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody else. Nicholson.
Yeah.
Like there's only like a handful of guys and showing kids and other people that like it's possible to get out there and do these things and that like they're no better than we are, like, yeah, they might play ball all year round, but we're gritty. Like we're gritty and we want it. Right. So, and that's what they like that from us. Like when I was getting recruited, it was like, tough hockey player, like kid loves it, but they like the grittiness of coming from, an outskirt, of Canada. And like, I tell people all the time from Nova Scotia and they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, do you know what that is? No. And I'm like, well, you should know where it is. But no, it's really cool, to be able to like, show kids things are possible. And you're not just limited to Nova Scotia. Like you can go wherever you want if you really, really try.
It was cool when we were streaming. What did we stream when you were with the Dry, the National?
The Renegades there was the 22U Nationals.
Yeah. Like I remember that and like having all your friends and teammates, whatever they were. I remember people were looking up to you and asking you questions. And I remember when you were in the batting cage, the whole team was just surrounding you, watching you swing. And I was like, oh, this guy has some influence on some people around here. I don't know baseball that well in the community, but I definitely know how to read a crowd. And whenever you were around, you could tell that there was an aura about you and people looked up to you. So that must be a really cool thing, getting to come back here and play. That must be a real treat in your life. Yeah,
it's cool. Like, and I love the, I want to say I love that. I love that attention. But I like that people, they're able to not be intimidated by me, but look up to me and ask me for questions and be like, how do I do this? Or like, how do I do it? Like, how are you doing that? And I'm like, that's great. Like, I want those questions. It's not like, I'm not trying to be your competitor. Like, I want to be your teammate and your friend. Like, I'm a friend before I am a baseball player. You can ask anybody that. And, it's cool. Like I love coming home with these guys. Like last summer was a blast.
It was a blast.
Like
we had so much fun.
Last summer was such a blast. And then they put me playing summer ball this year in Maine, so I won't be home for the summer. But the junior team, they got nationals back-to-back years. Like they're hosting next year and the year after that. So that's super exciting for them. Like. If I were to ever make it home, like I would 100% play, like I whatever. But if not, like I'll be watching for sure. And, I want nothing more than, for especially Rob Gowdy and all those guys, and the players, to just win. Like we've been so close the last 2 years, especially at home, coming in second, going to Manitoba, coming fourth. To like, there. If they like, we got it. We're right there. And it just shows you, like, again, the grittiness of Nova Scotia. Like, the guys that we bring on that team, we might not be the best players there, and we might not be, the most athletic group, but, like, we want it. Like, we want it bad. And there's, like, a push for something. And when you see it, like, we go get it.
I love that.
Yeah.
What are some things that you're learning from being down in the States and seeing the best players in the world at your age group? Like, what are you taking from them and putting into your own, I guess, game, your own personality? Like, we'll talk to NHL guys that will be there for the first year, and we'll be like, "What'd you learn? What are you seeing?" And their answer is always just like the professionalism, like from the way they dress, from the way they eat, from the way they get to the rink 3 hours early, from the way there's so much to gain from that first year of just pure professionalism. Like, what are you taking from up there?
Yeah, we have a couple like top prospects. Like our shortstop's really good. Our third baseman's really good. We got a couple of pitchers who are really good. Watching them, like, I thought I worked hard, but when I got there, I didn't work hard at all.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
You know,
like and you know, and a big thing from taking from them is body language. I thought I had good body language. not even close, right? Like our shortstop, like there's a reason he's a top 100 prospect in baseball. And it's because when he gets out, he strikes out on 3 pitches, he walks back to the dugout, next at bat he hits a home run. Like that's like he's just like the way he carries himself. And you hear that with everybody, like the professionalism of the guys, like it really, really, really shows, and you can see, and just, you know, being humble, you know, when you can put your teammates above yourself, like it's so, like it stands out like crazy. Like you can tell if a guy's cocky or humble. And again, just like back to the body language thing, like it plays such a huge part in especially baseball, because it's so noticeable, because you're all just out there. Like, I mean, hockey, you can kind of hide around on the bench.
You got gear on too, so like their shoulders are slouched.
Yeah, and like you can tell if somebody's got bad or good body language on the field. And it plays a part. Like if you see a pitcher on the mound and he's got bad body language, like that's your time to go up. Like I'm gonna go. Like I want to hit off that guy. Right? Those are free hits. But then you got a guy out there who's getting hit around a little bit, but he's still on the mound. Like he's crazy eyeing you, and you're like, oh God, like, you know. So it plays a confidence factor and like a fear factor or intimidation factor. So I mean, body language is more than just a, you know, more than just like a, you know, he's slouching or he's sad or he's mad. You know, like if you flip it the other way to a positive thing, like it can play so many different roles for you and help you with whatever you're trying to do.
Hockey and baseball have so many similarities in terms of like what you're just talking about, like body language and putting the team first and things like that, and like unwritten rules. I always pick his brain about it because I love I feel baseball is one of those sports, it's endless amount of knowledge. You'll never know everything about the game because there's so many little knickknacks, so many little tricks. I still learn to this day. That's what I really enjoy about baseball, is the unwritten rules and things, how to get ahead, and those little, body language, working hard, all of that. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I've never been worked this hard in my entire life. Like we have like a 45-day span with NCAA allows us.
To do what?
To just practice like crazy. Like there's no like right now we're back to individuals, which is only like 8 hours a week, and the other one is 20 hours a week.
Big difference.
20 hours, but
20, like what do you mean to work on?
So we have Mondays are off, but we lift. Mondays are off, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're just out on the field for hours and hours and hours.
Reps.
And like we do this drill called 12 minutes, and it's like 12 minutes straight of ground balls.
Nice.
And like, oh God, like your legs are killing you. And then we were doing these things last week. You know, you have a guy holding you back on a band, and you're like running up and you're fielding the ball with a band on your back, and then you got bands around your feet, and like you're like almost throwing up as you're going around. It's like 6 forehands, 6 backhands, six to your glove side. And then you do it without a glove, and it's like, yeah, we're going. Like, this is like...
You're sweating.
And you're like, oh, my God, like, I'm going to throw up right now.
I saw you guys had a practice facility, and it looked like AstroTurf.
Yeah.
Is your game field AstroTurf, or is that grass?
All AstroTurf.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, all
AstroTurf.
Most Division Ones are... I mean, some. I think, like, we go to Michigan State this year. Yeah. Michigan State is grass. But most... especially like Power 5, Big 10, most of them are AstroTurf because we're northern, so like it's hard to maintain a grass field when it's cold and wet.
Do you enjoy AstroTurf, or do you not care?
personally, on a personal level, I like playing on grass better. Like when we were playing with.
That's a Beasley guy.
Yeah. If you can play at Beasley, you can play anywhere.
Yeah, Beasley's like a rock field, but no,
it's true.
It's like, Beasley's like mountains. But when you get to, like, when we were playing with JNT and we were down in Florida and we were playing at some of the spring training facilities, like that kind of, when they maintain it like that, like playing at Tropicana Field, like that was like, I mean, I know that's a professional field, but like that's like, you know, guys are hating on that field. I'm like, dude, this field is like unbelievable. Like it's so true. But AstroTurf is, I mean, it's like it's not a huge difference.
Okay.
Other than you know, the hops and how you're supposed to play the hops, and you know, the ball kind of speeds up a little bit if you hit it with like some backspin or topspin. So you kind of have to, like, I had to learn. Like I never really played on turf. So like showing up, like I had to learn like how to, you know, read a hop, because, you know, the ball is going to skip or the ball is going to go that way or this way, just from the spin on the ball. But you get used to it, and it's good for, like, I like sliding on it. Like it's fun sliding on it.
AstroTurf sliding on it?
Yeah, especially like when it's wet out, like you like will slide like this whole room
30 feet,
like, because you just like, you're just going like, I remember one day after practice, it was raining, and our coach was like,
here, just keep talking, I just want to get my glove right there.
Yeah, our coach was like, we're just gonna do sliding because it's raining. And I was like, all right, like, I was like, oh God, here we go.
It's like base runners back in the day.
So then we're practicing like how to slide on wet turf. So that was kind of fun, but it's cool. Like you never think about like practicing that, like,
no,
or like before, like if it's wet outside and you're on the turf, our coach gets us to like drop the ball down and get it wet, so we can warm up with a wet ball, because when you're in the game it's going to be wet too. So why are you going to warm up with a dry ball? You got to learn how to throw a wet ball, which, like, I never even, like, you never think about that until you do it. So just those little things, which is cool on turf. But
that's sick.
Yeah.
You got a question?
I do, and it pertains to the turf and dirt comparison. Obviously, we have that Susan McEachran Field in Sydney with the turf, and when that came out, it was, I remember Cam and I went, before it was even open, we jumped the fence, and it was just like, you go out there in bare feet, and you're going, oh my God, like, this is heaven, literally. But the one thing I will say is it almost gets to a point where when you're at Susie Mac, that you say those hops, they speed up. It's similar to a lacrosse ball bounce. But you can almost, like, as an infielder, you can almost identify where the ball is going to be off the bat, off the turf. And I think that's kind of a downfall. And you kind of see it sometimes when Sydney comes to play at Beasley or whatever, because they get those true hops all summer, right? It's like boom, 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 boom. You can close your eyes, kind of put your glove there. But at Beasley, you're forced to stay down and stay, you know, on top of the ball on a ground ball. So you see the difference in plays where it's like, you know, at Beasley, you're going to get that crazy hop up by your earlobes or anything like that, but it almost works against you. So to be flipping back and forth between fields, did you find that you had to extra lock in maybe at Beasley at first base with that lip of the grass or the dirt or whatever, being so many games being played on it, and then at Sydney you kind of can be more relaxed? I know you still have the same, you know, dynamic for fielding a ball, but I just found switching back and forth, you had to almost extra lock in at Beasley after playing at a turf field.
Yeah, I think it really helped. I think honestly, like, playing at Beasley actually helped, because
100%.
You're anticipating it to be, you know, go this way, like right, left, over your head. Like you're not anticipating it to be like right at you and true. So like, I think playing at Beasley so much, like, actually improved and made me a better fielder, just from anticipation and, you know, going to, like, you got to go get the ball, right? Like, you can't sit back, because you know if it sits back, it's either going to bounce over your head or it's going to bounce 5 feet to your right. But like, playing on turf is like, it's so much, like, you just got to make a routine play. Like, it's so much easier in a way, because you, like you said, you know where it's going to be. Like, you know where it's going to go. So, you know, but it's a whole, like, you got to kind of learn how to field off a field like Beasley, and you got to learn how to field feel like Susan McEachran Field. Like, you, like, when we went up there this year, it was like, I was like, oh, like, we're taking infield, outfield, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is
a dream.
This is like the best thing ever. Like, I'm like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. And then you go back to Beasley and you're like, oh God.
Exactly.
But I think, like, to answer your question, like, I think it actually helps. in fielding on, like at B's, like fielding on turf, it helps in that sense, just because you're always looking like you're like, this ball's not getting by me.
No.
So you're knocking it down wherever it is.
As long as you're square with that ball, I found that in Cape Breton, even if you're behind it, like, because that second skip is always faster, right? So that does play a factor, especially when you're laying out for a ball or whatever. It's timing when you're laying out. Yeah. Sometimes it's just pure reaction, of course, but like at Beasley, like, okay, if I dive here, it's going to be a slow second hop off the really loose dirt at second base. But at Susie Mac, for example, you get that second hop, and now it's a laser, so you got to get that glove out before. So I always found it was a tough transition for me personally. Now, obviously, I only played senior, so it's good, but I'm not playing against guys that are hitting the ball, 200 miles off the bat and stuff like that. So it was definitely an adjustment, but I'm trying to picture myself playing on turf all the time. It's great for fielding, but you said you guys did some sliding practice in the rain, which is great. The turf is great when it's moist, but when it's dry, there is a factor, and that does take a toll on your body. It sounds ridiculous, but the amount of times that you or I have left that field, or anybody else in that league, with the dry turf burn from a hot weekend in Sydney, you play 4 games in 2 days, and it plays a factor. Like, you get scraped on Beasley, but you get burned on Susie Mac. So that's one thing I think of when I think of turf, but obviously it's a dream come true to play on turf all the time, and you get used to it after a while.
Yeah, for sure. Like, we would do base running, and we would go like first and third reads or whatever, and you'd have to go first to third, and we're always sliding. And even on your hands too, like some guys slide and they drop their hands, and like your hands, like, my hands are still kind of cut up a little bit from it, just because my hands are dragging along the turf. And then guys are ripping their pants, and like their legs are all cut up and stuff. So it's a little bit different in that way. But again, I enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm heading to Arizona for a bachelor party in April, and we're going to see ASU versus Ohio, I think. How was ASU's baseball?
They're really good.
Are they?
Yeah, they're good. They had a first overall pick a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Spencer Torkelson. He's the first
baseman
really? For the Tigers now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had like 27 jacks or something. in there, like Barry Bonds went there.
Did he?
Yeah, Barry Bonds went to ASU.
Wow.
Somebody else went there.
Pre-steroid Barry Bonds.
Yeah. Still the best though.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, Barry Bonds. I forget who else went there. I feel like somebody else went there, but yeah, they're good. Like, they're usually strong. They're consistent, I'd say.
Yeah. I'm excited to go. Look, they just got a new stadium as well.
Yeah.
The amount of money they're putting into these baseball academies, it's unbelievable. Pro ball, time, clock, the pitch count. What do you call it? The pitch clock?
Pitch clock, yeah.
I don't know. I've always. What are your thoughts on it?
That's a funny question, actually, because I just did a project on that. I swear to God, I just did a project.
Did you actually do it?
I keep forgetting you're a student.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I just did a project on that, actually, because we do it too. We have the pitch clock as well.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, we have the pitch clock as well.
Interesting.
So that was something I had to get used to as well. You have 10 seconds to get back in the box and make eye contact with the pitcher as a hitter. And the pitcher, you have 20 seconds in between pitches to deliver the ball. And just like from the pitch clock, like going from those games at home, like we're playing 7-inning games, in 3.5 hours at Beasley Field.
Take your sweet ass time.
Yeah. And then we go here, we're playing 9-inning games in 2 hours and maybe less. So like you're always going. And like we do some things too. It's like hitters like 45 seconds to the plate, like just to kind of keep the momentum and keep the pace up. But like when I first got there and we first started playing games, like I could really feel like the game was almost speeding up. So like, you kind of just like, you always hear like the game speeding up on me, but it wasn't speeding up in that way. Like it was just the time that it was going. And like, you step out of the box and you're like looking at the coach right away, getting the sign, and you're back in the box ready to go, like within like 5 seconds. So like, and especially if you get a pitcher that works really fast, like we played Stony Brook University, and like their starting pitcher was like
didn't leave the mound.
And we have these like wristbands that we get, and like our pitching coach will call out a number, and it'll show up, so like everybody knows what pitch. So like
electronically?
Yeah. So like everybody knows what pitch is coming. So like say for like it'd be like 1-0, be fastball middle.
How does your coach know that though?
practice, I think.
Because we have like a sheet or whatever, and then all the position players who are playing, and the pitcher and the catcher, they all have it, so everybody knows what's happening. And then, for example, like if there's a steal or like a pickoff move, like I'll get a notification. Everybody gets a notification, but I'll get it. It'll say like 8861, which is a long hold pick to first. Or I'll get just a regular 6-1, and it'll just be pickoff move. So 6-1's the pickoff move, and 8-8 would be a long hold.
Are you allowed to be saying this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're
Yeah.
giving out codes.
Well, nobody
can see
Nobody
them.
looks at him.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of our thing. But like, it's cool. Like that was something to get used to too, because I had to memorize all the plays and all the numbers, and like we do every play off there, like bump plays, first and third plays, pickoffs, back picks, pitches, everything is on there.
So has this stuff been eliminated?
Yeah, our coach
Stealing signs.
Like, yeah. That's like that's
You're in the dog
that's
days if
done.
you're still doing that.
Yeah, that's done. Like I don't know if anybody really does it.
In the MLB, do they still do that?
Maybe as a
Or does everyone
maybe as a decoy, but like when we're hitting at the plate, like we have play cards that we have below, and
belt.
it's like 6 quadrants of numbers, and like there's like he'll call it like 050, and then you go to find there, and then it'll say on your card like whatever, like steal, bunt, hit and run, like delay, steal, like they'll actually call out a number instead of giving signs.
Interesting.
Yeah, just because like like that little thing, like if you can steal a sign, like it can change a whole game. Like you steal a team sign, like that they're stealing on some pitch in like the 7th inning. You throw them out, pitch out, throw them out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like game's over.
Yep.
Wow.
And now they're scrambling, right? Because now you got their sign.
Just from losing, just from them stealing signs. So to prevent that, we have cards, and we have like player cards. Like we'll get, like when we're playing Vanderbilt and stuff, we have a card in our back pockets where like it has the player's name, if they're a green runner, a yellow runner, or a red runner, and then it has like where we play them on the field. So like if it's a pole, it'll be PP. If it's like an ST, it'll be like straight up. So you just play straight up, or like and pull shift. So like that's a whole shift, because we're still allowed to shift, but the MLB's not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we still shift. Like they were shifting. Like I remember I got like screwed out of a couple hits this fall just because they had the shift on me.
The Darren Doucette shift.
So what is it? It's like how do you penalize someone in baseball? Like if you shift and you're not allowed to shift, what's the penalty? You're not 2 minutes in the box.
There's no like if like they just, there's in the MLB, like they're just not allowed to do it.
You just get
Just
yelled
stop.
at.
You'll just
get
be like,
yelled
they'll
at.
just be like stop the game and be like, you gotta like go back. But in college baseball, like they still allow the shift, so
Oh, okay.
we still do it.
Does the pitcher have a
Pitch command?
Not a pitch command, but like a microphone in their head, in their hat.
Catchers
Like
do.
Oh, not the pitcher.
Not in the MLB, pitchers like, because of like they don't want to wear wristbands in the MLB because it's more professional. They have like a mic in here, and it'll literally just say like fastball away, and they'll be like, all right, fastball away. But like our catchers always have like a headset on, and like we have a walkie-talkie in the dugout, and the coaches are communicating with them through that. Whether it's, I don't really know what they talk about because I don't catch, but but that's pretty cool. Like that was a real like shock, like a not a culture shock, but like a like just a shock in like a baseball standpoint, because like I've never done that before ever.
Like I'm having a hard time even following along, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. So that's crazy that you even have to learn that.
Yeah, and it was a like having to learn all the plays, and the card's pretty straightforward, like the yellow number, and you just kind of have to find it. But you know, like learning the plays and like the watch and everything, and like not forgetting the watch like before the game, like making sure you have it. It was different. It was kind of tough to get used to, but now I'm doing it every day. Like you get used to it, but it's pretty cool. Like how kind of times have changed. I remember I was telling my dad about it, and he was like, "Yeah, like we never had that." And I was like, "Yeah." No.
Classic response.
Yeah. But it was pretty. It's pretty cool, like seeing like all the stuff that goes into just, you know, everything's to win a game, right?
Do you guys have iPads on the bench?
We do, but it's not for film.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of just guys like
Candy Crush.
Yeah, Candy Crush. Yeah, Jetpack Joyride. Kind of guys like no, but they're like like the stat guys, like our student managers, or some other guys are like taking like not notes, but like they're keeping track of the game and pitches.
Analytics.
Analytic guys, which is cool. Like we have 5 student managers who are just students there, and they are unreal. Like they set everything up and take everything down and make sure we have everything, and like we don't have to lift an arm and a leg. Like we're blessed in that way. So they do a lot, but they're cool guys too, and we have a girl too.
Isn't there like a debate right now within baseball of like analytics and let the guys play?
Oh God.
How do you feel? Should I not have asked that question?
No, sort of. I mean, there's sort of like.
You don't have to like elaborate, but
it depends on the organization, to be honest. Like some organizations, like I remember talking like couple like the Yankees are big on like I forget, it was OPS maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like
what does OPS stand for?
On base
plus slugging. So it's like your on base percentage plus how many extra base hits you can get.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like they don't care if you hit 100, like, but if you have like a crazy OPS, like you're gonna somehow make it to the big leagues. So like, and then there's other teams that are like not analytics, and they're like, we want guys who can play. Like it depends on the team really. For us, we're not huge on analytics. We're kind of just like a basic just approach to the game. We're really fundamental. Like our coach is really hard on the fundamentals.
Good.
Which I like.
Yeah.
I like. That's how I was taught. And I think I mean there's a reason he's won over 1,000 games in college baseball. Like
wow.
Yeah, he's like that's why he wins. Like you can't argue, like he wins. So
and that's a guy you listen to, I'm sure. I'm sure there's some plugs out there like, all right, buddy, but 1,000 wins, I'll listen to you.
Yeah.
He knows how to win, that's for sure. Like he's good. But yeah, like they really stress the fundamentals of hitting, fielding, everything. And it's like when you watch them, how much they do, it's like you never realized how, like I could never be a college baseball coach. Like there's so much work that goes into that, and like the long hours and long days. Like they spend more time with us than they do their families, right? Like, so it's crazy how much of a sacrifice that they give. But it's been cool just seeing like, how everything kind of works
behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think the reason you asked that was the Jays this year, where they pulled Barrios, I'm pretty sure is what it was, before he was even in any sort of danger. And the whole debate was the eye test versus the numbers test. And they pulled him, and then obviously everybody knows what happened. They got shit on, and they ended up losing. And that's what the debate was, is why are we taking a guy out based on some numbers that an iPad made? When you can visibly see him, he's confident. Body language was a big one. Barrios was ready to go. He looked like more of a gamer there than a lot of us had seen all year. And then they pull him for some sort of analytic, and then they end up losing. So that was a great question, I thought, Belly, because it's a debate as old as time. Are we going to go with the numbers and go with what are the odds? What's his OPS? What's this guy do against lefties? What's this guy do against fastballs? Is this guy a slider pitcher? Or do you go, here's what I'm seeing, here's what I'm feeling? Number one is, when you're a coach, you can feel if your guy's struggling, right? You can feel if your guy is a dog right now. And I think this is going to be an argument that we're going to have until the end of time.
Yeah.
Moneyball didn't help.
That's exactly.
I love that scene where they're all sitting there. It's like he passes the eye candy test. He's ready to play in the big leagues. We just got to get him some at bats. And then Brad Pitt, well, does he get on base? No.
That's it.
If he's a good hitter, why doesn't he get on base?
Exactly.
His girlfriend's a 6 at least.
Yeah.
No confidence.
It's all analytics, man. It's nuts.
Yeah,
that's a great scene.
That's kind of where it all started from. Really, like that was like the start of the analytics.
The conversation.
Yeah.
But it's like true. Like you do need to factor those things in, but I just don't think personally that it needs to be the be all end all of your decision. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like if you're up there and you're facing the pitcher's going through a second time through the order, a third time through the order, and you've got 2 line drive doubles off the fence off him, and then you come up in a big spot, maybe it's time to switch the pitcher. But if he's dominating you all game and you come up again, you're not just going to go, on his third time, he usually gives up a hit. You're going to let him play that out because he's been dominating that part of the order or whatever the case may be. So but baseball's funny like that, boys. Like there's so much like we could have done this, we could have done that, and there's so many moving parts and unwritten rules and just little things that kind of can dictate the play of a game. And like I said, we're just going to be arguing about it forever, but it's a great topic.
Yeah, it's sort of like the decisions that you can live with.
Yeah,
like you're saying, like if he's out there and he's chucking. Like I remember, like for example, to tie it with the senior league, I remember when I was a kid watching Jason Bailey in the finals of that year of nationals, and like it was like a guy ended up like it was 0-0 all game, and guy hits a home run, and they win 1-0. But like that's like a decision where you go with, it's like you're not going to take him out. Like if he gives up a home run, he gives up a home run. He gives up a run, he gives up a run.
You still got to score.
Like right, like there's like, and those like, it's like instinct decisions, right? Like, you know, there's no like, and our coach especially, like he plans everything. Like he knows if we're in this situation, we're going to go this guy.
Right.
If it's this situation, this guy. But then there's also that factor that he uses where it's like, you know, we play it by ear. Like if this guy was projected to go 5 innings to start the game and he's cruising, like you're not going to pull him.
No.
Like you're going to let him go. So like that's like pulling it back to the Barrios. Like, I mean, everybody was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, why are we doing this?
Why are we even warming anybody up?
And like, there's no, like, I mean, they haven't done that all year. And then all of a sudden it like, you change it up as soon as you get into the playoffs and it's like, you see what happens. Right.
Exactly.
So like that side of baseball, like I just like the nitty gritty, like this is how baseball is played. Like that's like what my dad and grandfather have always installed in me is like, this is how it's played and this is how it's not played. And this is how it's done and this is how it's not done. And like, you know, they don't understand the analytics side of it all, but like it's pretty, it's weird how like everything kind of changes over generation to generation. And like my generation is more analytics and what's your batting average, or how many home runs did you hit. But you know, I think baseball's kind of, it wasn't stuck in there for a little bit, but I think teams are kind of scattering around. Like everybody's kind of doing their own thing, which is kind of cool. It's just different than other sports, right?
I love it. What are you working on when you said you're here for 4 more days? Yeah. So when you go back, what are you working on? Do you have exit meetings like with your coach? Like, all right, come back and work on this.
Yeah, we have. We haven't had them yet. We had like a little, you know, strength and weaknesses meeting. And for me, really, like the only thing offensively, staying inside and through the ball. I tend to get a little pull happy, especially when I see an inside pitch. So like staying inside, like, you know, just we stress working the other way. Like that's,
what does that mean?
Just hitting balls opposite field.
Okay.
You know, cleaning up your swing path, cleaning up your swing. And I've always done that, you know, since I can remember, when I really started taking ball seriously. But I like just stressing and like, you know, over the last like couple weeks of the fall, like, you know, you're getting tired and your body's getting tired, your mind's getting tired. Yep. And, you know, you're going out there, it's like you've just been out there for 4 hours again, and then you got batting practice on the field. It's like, all right, let's go. Like, you know, we're hitting off this machine that's throwing 100 miles an hour every day. And it's like you're hitting, like, you know, at the start, like I remember I couldn't even hit the ball. Like it was rising, like as I was trying to hit it. And then the more you hit off it, the more you get used to it. And then it's like now like you're parking balls, you're hitting balls out, like you're going backside. And then just like maintaining confidence, but like sticking with what works and like not getting outside of like, you know, like I'm at the point now where I know what I can and what I can't do. So like for me, like I know what works and what doesn't for myself. And just like, again, like working on staying inside the ball, staying through the ball, you know, getting quicker feet, just becoming a complete player. That's what you're looking for, right? That's what they look for. Like if you're going to invest into a player, like, you know, this is like, we want a complete player. We don't want a guy who can hit but he can't field, or can field but he can't hit, or can, you know, it's kind of different when you're not up the middle. Like if you're outside, like you don't have to be a fast runner, but you got to be a good base runner.
Smart,
right?
Base
like
runner.
you can't, you know, if you're going to play, you can't, you know, hit a double and then get picked off at second base. Like that's just, you know, that's just not how that's just not going to play at this level. So like being a complete player, it's tough to do. Like you're never going to be perfect, but you want to get to a place where
you're hovering around it.
Exactly.
You're hovering around perfect.
And you're able, you feel confident and every facet of the game, and everywhere you step on the field, you're confident. If they throw you in the outfield, you can play the outfield. It depends on it all comes back together in games. Like you'll see like we do these little things in practice, and it's like, oh my God, there it is in a game, and it's like you never expected it to be there. But I think just weightlifting too. Keep getting stronger. Like I'm the strongest I've ever been.
Oh yeah, you look good. Like you look lean.
Yeah, I lost. I think last time I was out doing the podcast, I was like 260 pounds.
What are you now?
215.
No way.
Yeah. So like I was, like that was an example. Like they were like, you got to get your body right, and I was like, all right, and I just made a priority just to get my body right and make sure that I was eating properly and lifting properly and doing all these things, because like I can't tell you how much that helped. Mm-hmm. I remember, dudes can say, like, dudes remembers me. I was always the pudgy kid all the way up, like ever since I was a little kid.
Looked like you could bash.
Yeah, I was always a pudgy kid. But when you get to a certain level, like that's what separates the pros and the non-pros. Like you gotta, they talk about like you gotta have the body, right, to play professional sports. Like you gotta have the body, and I didn't. Like that's. That like I'm
talk about body language.
Yeah,
you gotta have
exactly,
the body for it.
Exactly. Like that's, and it plays a part in the confidence too. Like, and I just feel so much quicker. Like I can hit the ball 30 feet, 40 feet farther because I can move better. Like you think when you're heavier you hit the ball farther, but it's the complete opposite.
Mobility. And
it's just like I'm quicker. Like I dropped down a bunt last week and I ran a 4-1 to first base.
Let's go.
Yeah, and it's like. I was a 4-1 to first base. I'm like, Jesus, man. Like, are you sure that's right? And he's like, yeah, we got it. And I was like, I've never ran that fast in my life. But like I feel just really good,
that's awesome.
Mentally and physically. Like it's, matured a lot since being down there. And like, our strength coach is like, he's awesome. Like he's the best. He's a guy from Massachusetts, and he's like, let's hit this shit, let's go, come on. And then everybody's just kind of like, the weight room is like, the atmosphere in the weight room is like, guys lifting a heavy weight, it's like we're all gonna go over to that squat rack and just scream at him. We're just gonna scream. Culture. Yeah. And it's just like, and that's like, I think that's what from hearing with the guys last year, and the difference between the team last year and this year is just like, how close everybody is, especially in the fall. Like you never get that. Like we're still 3 months from the season, and like the fall was a really good time for guys to bond and get together, and like guys to step up as leaders and kind of show like what we can do and who we are. And it like, I wasn't used to like going to the weight room and we're like, all right, we're getting after it today. Like we're gonna lift, like we're like, guys are gonna deadlift 600 pounds and we're gonna like, front squat 3 plates, and it's like,
these are all foreign terms to me.
Yeah. But like I said, like I'm kind of just going on and on, but
you seem like eager. Like it's like you want 3 months to pass by. You just want to start.
I want to go. Like, I just want to go. Like,
it's the worst time as an athlete.
I just want to go.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, let's go.
But yeah, I developed like a really, like, I love working out with the team, in that team environment. Like guys, everybody's screaming or playing loud music. So it's a lot of fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
How much time are we at?
57.
Do you want to add anything?
I would like to just touch on the mental side of it real quick. And this is just something that I seen, and I'm not trying to be a dick, but I remember you came back, I'm not sure from where, but you come back home and you're playing, big dog baseball, and then you come back and you expect a lot of yourself. And there was a little bit of a period there during the summer where I think you struggled just a little bit. But I never really noticed it because you and I have known each other for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So we got that almost that personal level of the conversation, but I never noticed you being like down on yourself. I knew, because I knew you expected a lot of yourself. I wanted to know, what is a couple things, or maybe just one thing, that you really focus on mentally to get you back from a place where you were struggling?
Really just there's 2 things. I really just try to simplify. You know, when you get in struggle, like you're trying to do too much.
Yeah, for sure.
So simplifying things, and also going to the field with a smile, like you know, just smiling. Like I know exactly the moment you're talking about. I remember the first month I came back, I had 1 home run,
Yep.
and I was like, oh my God, Ty, like what are you doing? Like you're supposed to be this. And then I was like, I kind of just, you know, reflected and I looked back and I was like, dude, like you get to play here and you know, it's probably one of your last summers in a while. Like just go and like just smile and just have fun. Like you can't play tight. Like you can't play tight. If you're tight, you're done. And I remember that weekend, 3 home runs, and then the next weekend I had 3 home runs, and the next weekend I had 3 home runs. And then I think I ended up hitting, like, I had 1 home run in the first month, and then the next 2 months I think I had 16.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, okay, I'm back. And like, that credits, like I went into the batting cage with Mitchell.
Yep.
And Mitchell was like I was in there, and I remember we had an inter squad, and I was like 0-for-4, and I was like, oh my God, like I can't believe it. So I go to the batting cages, and Mitchell's in there, and I'm like throwing my bat, and he's like, dude, like you just gotta like chill out, like you just gotta like relax, like you just gotta like, you're not who you were last year. And I was like, yeah, dude, I know. And at the point I was struggling where I was in Florida, like when I came back, I didn't play that good. So then he was like, we kind of just changed my swing.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember I used to be way up here, and I would kind of waggle my bat, and then I dropped my hands and I spread out and I just lifted my leg and dropped it. And like next game I remember we played the Pelhams, and I was like 4-for-4 with a double. And I was like, all right, we're going to stick with this. So like, honestly, credit to my brother for that. Like credit to Mitchell for, you know, kind of like, you know, not changing my swing, but like, he was like, dude, you should try this. Like, you know, like he should take some credit for that. But like just being in a like a positive state of mind, like, and then I remember after that, when I got out, like I didn't care. Like it was like,
you could see a shift.
Like if I got out, I didn't care. If I hit a home run, like I get fired up, but like sometimes I wouldn't even care, like a home run or a hit or whatever it was. And then I just seen my stats just, you know, your stats just, they'll all, everything levels out, right? So it was good, kind of being back. And then I carried that into Rutgers, just, you know, keeping the same mentality of like, you know, I don't have to prove anything. Like I mean, in a way you do, but there's no pressure. Like I wasn't putting any pressure on myself going in. I was just like, this is how it's going to be. This is what I'm going to do. And then I just went out there and just played like I you know, like played for myself. Yeah. And I wanted to prove something, not to other people, but to prove something to myself that I can play here, and, you know, kind of bet on myself, and it really worked out big time for sure.
Awesome.
Can I just do one more thing?
Yeah.
The last thing about that is you play a shit ton of baseball, man, and you go from Florida to college, back to senior, then you go play junior. I feel like that would be tough. Obviously, I've never done that. But one thing that people don't realize, I feel, is how much that shifts like your mentality and your mindset and who you're facing, because you're facing guys that can throw maybe 101 in college, and then you come back and you face a guy like Matty Johnson. No disrespect to Matty Johnson, but he throws like 72 miles an hour, right? So it's like, it's a big difference. And I think one thing that people don't really consider on the outside looking in is how much you have to adjust as a hitter and a ball player when you're flip-flopping back between the leagues. And I feel like watching you this summer, because I won't lie, I'm a big fan. I like, you know, I've known you since you were a kid, so to follow your path has been really cool. I play with your dad, that kind of stuff. But for you to come home and do what you do for Dartmouth baseball and Dartmouth minor baseball has been really fun to watch. And I just want to finish off with a crazy stat that I read today, and that was that you did not strike out last summer with the dry or the Mooseheads. And that is a ridiculous stat. And I said to Belly, when you're a 4-hitter, the pitcher on the mound is going to give you his best shit. Yeah. And that's what he's thinking. I got to get this guy out and get through this meat of the order. So for you not to strike out at all and hit 9 dingers, and I think it was 23 RBIs, maybe 4 something. Like I did my research. Yeah. That's crazy, man. And I just want to commend you for that, because it's not tough. I know you went through a rough patch there where you were with Oregon, and then that switched, and now you're at Rutgers. So mentally, I feel like you've done a really good job, and you're painting a really good picture for the younger demographic and the younger ball players around here to just stick with it and do your thing, and you can do things in baseball just like you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was That was great. I appreciate that. Like, and you know, I never expected that. Like, I remember I went up to Joel Irving. I saw him at the field one day, and he was like, "Yeah, I was the only guy to never strike out." And I go, "Well, you're going to be the second."
Right?
I told him that, and I was like, "I'm not going to strike out. Like, that's just not going to happen. Like, I'm going up to the plate." And that's where the mentality just shifted.
Yep.
Because I started playing senior around that time too. And I was like, that's where I was just like, going into the box, like, he's just not going to get me out. Like, there's no way you're getting me out.
That dog mentality.
And if you do, you're not going to get me out again. And they never did. I don't know. I don't remember the time, like, you know, I mean, I don't remember the time where I went up to the plate and I like wasn't in that mindset and I did it. And again, I carried that right into Rutgers.
Yep.
And I even, it doesn't, you know, like you said about going from like the velo switches and the velo changes, there's a big adjustment with that. You know, again, going back to not getting too big with your swings and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's baseball, right? Like, again, like I'm going up to the plate and I don't care how hard you throw. I don't care what you throw. You know, you still gotta throw it across the plate 3 times. And if you have that mentality, I feel like, you know, you can do a lot of good things. You know, I can't stress enough how important just the mental side of baseball is and how much that can just jumpstart, you know, success.
Perfect. That's a great way to put it.
I love it. Good way to end it. Good advice for the kids too.
Yeah.
Mental side.
Yeah.
All right, Ty, you're the man. I appreciate it. We're going to be following you.
Oh, yeah.
We wish you the best at training. In 3 months, you said the season starts?
Yeah, February 17th, we open at Winthrop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It will be snowing, though, February.
Yeah.
Or you play inside?
No, we're down in South Carolina, and then we play UNC.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, we have a 2-game series against UNC.
Oh,
so
man.
that should be fun.
That's a good life.
Yeah.
All right, man. You're the man. Thank you for coming in. Seriously,
Sure.
I 5 days and you come in here. That means that
really
means a lot.
yeah,
Thank you,
appreciate it.
everyone listening. Thank you very much. We're nothing without the ears and the eyes. So we're out. Peace. Thank you.
Peace.